Hey, good evening. Good evening. Good to see everybody. If you are jumping on live, if you could say hi in the chat. I'm Cindy Baker, ADHD productivity coach, and I am excited about our topic for tonight. We're going to talk about working from home, strategies to help adults with ADHD be productive working from home. So even if you're not working from home, I think you're going to find some things that would be beneficial to you. So if you're watching the replay, just say hashtag replay in the comments, whatever platform you're tuning in from. And if you're watching live, let me know. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I hope you're having so far a great Monday, and I hope these tips set you up for Monday motivation, right? For the week. But when you're working from home, there's some unique challenges if you're an adult with ADHD, because it's possible that you feel you struggle to focus or remain productive when you're all by yourself, or if you've got family members nearby. And so I'm just going to give you a few tips for remote workers that have ADHD, and some things that I've read and other people with ADHD have commented on in different forums. So I think these are some good tips, and hopefully you'll find these helpful. Let me know in the chat if you work from home, and where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. But there are some unique challenges for people who are working from home. And, it used to be that the kind of the allure of working from home was, oh, you can be in your pajamas and you can have your computer anywhere, and you picture these, like someone on an island with a palm tree and a drink with an umbrella, and they've got their little laptop. Well, it's a little more challenging than that, right? Because lots and lots of people are starting to work from home, and some of them are hybrid. So some of you might be hybrid, where you're working part of the time at home. But if you have ADHD, it complicates a lot of the work from home prerequisites, like being self-disciplined, focused, time management, prioritization skills. Those are just a few. So what are some of the challenges that you might face when you work from home? The first one is dealing with focus, maintaining focus when when there's so many other things vying for your attention. Maybe if you're an extrovert like me, um, or if you're somebody that just likes to be with other people, then you might not like being alone, and you are finding yourself alone working from home. Um, so sometimes when people are in an office, they're more focused on work. But when you're at home, sometimes your mind drifts off, and it's easier to get caught up in the thoughts in your own head, right? So one suggestion is to buddy up. Find somebody to check in with quickly each morning. Review top priorities for the day, check status on the priorities from the day before. And if you're your own boss, you won't have a boss to check in with, so just get an accountability partner. If you're an entrepreneur, find another entrepreneur where you can hold each other accountable. So a lot of people, excuse me, with ADHD use a timer. And I always suggest this because we tend to have trouble estimating how much time something's going to take. And when we think that we just have plenty of time, we end up wasting it. So use the Pomodoro method if you want to, where you're doing 25-minute increments and a break. But work intensely until the timer goes off, and then take a break for 5 minutes. get up, walk around, get a drink of water, whatever. Um, but having a timer makes it easier to stay on task. It kind of instills this sense of urgency. Um, and you know exactly how long you have until you have a break. Um, and how much time you have on your break before you got to get back to work. So using timers really helps. Um, Another challenge is avoiding distractions with family around and no firewalls, right? Um, Maybe there's not enough space in the home for you to have some place that's quiet, or maybe there's a TV on and in a room nearby that's distracting, and you can hear other people in the house. And distraction on the internet is a problem. There are so many things vying for your attention on the internet, social media. It's easy to get caught up, in an interesting news story, or uh, social media scrolling, and you just lose time with this internet rabbit hole, right? To try to sit at a table or a desk in an area that has very few visual distractions, as few as possible. Not the couch, not around all your hobbies. If there's other stuff on the table, move it aside temporarily. If you've got the option, bring home a monitor and a chair and make your desk like a real office. You can use a fan or a white noise machine or noise blocking headphones to block out, any house noise distractions or neighborhood distractions. There's a browser extension called One Tab, and that lets you collapse all of the tabs that you might have open into a plain page with a list of links. And that may not sound very exciting, but it helps with ADHD in a couple of ways, because if you find yourself distracted, it's easier to disentangle yourself if you know that whatever shiny object you're looking at is still going to be easy to find when you finish whatever you're really supposed to be doing, right? And also, One Tab helps with your work research, because you can group together a bunch of links related to a project and then save them for a later reference. So, be able to isolate yourself and make sure that your boundaries are respected by family members. You're going to have to communicate. Make sure that your family and friends know that you work from home, and take that seriously, like a real job, because it is a real job. That means you got to be able to say no to driving kids to activities just because you work from home and you're available. Because you work from home, it doesn't mean that your spouse can expect that dinner is ready, housekeeping's done, and errands have been run during work hours, right? You need to still share that equally. And so that's going to take some communication. Another challenge working from home is just maintaining productivity when nobody's watching. You're responsible for you, and no one is coming to your rescue, right? Um, you got to put the same number of hours in, or maybe even more than you would in a regular work day. If you're working in an office, and let's say you're working 7 hours, then you need to put in 7 hours at home, not 4 hours. And so if you usually end up doing household tasks that seem important, maybe that's much easier to accomplish because you're moving around instead of sitting at your computer. You just need to be careful that those things are not eating away at your work time, So you got to isolate yourself the best you can during the time of day that you feel that you're the most productive, your best brain time. If that's early in the morning, wake up and get in those hours. If it doesn't happen till 1 in the afternoon, that's fine, but you have to know when that is, because employers sometimes they expect productivity to decline as you work from home. So prove them wrong, just do the best that you can. Instead of trying to concentrate on just one task, have, have several things available that need to be done. Um, if you have, if you get bored with one thing, then you can transfer to another task. But you're working on one thing at a time, just have several things available. So then you can transfer back to the original task or go to something else on your list. But you don't need to have more than 4 things with a close deadline. If you have more than that, it's probably going to be difficult to meet those. So I know one person that wrote things on a note card and they keep it on a pin board by their desk. When you're doing something, write it down. Put it, if it's not on a note card, write it somewhere. And then when you change to a different project or different activity, you can replace that card and put a check mark on the one that you finished, or have the list visible. But you need to have something that reminds you of what you're supposed to be focused on. And at the end of the deadline, you're going to have all these check marks, and it gives you a little dopamine hit. It feels good. It's like a closure, sense of accomplishment. Another challenge, I think, working from home is prioritizing and scheduling when tasks are coming from every direction. It's hard to focus if you're tired and there's deadlines, or if you have conflicting deadlines, then you feel like everything is just falling apart, and you just want to go lay down and take a nap and shut it down, right? So every day, start your morning asking yourself, what is my intention today? What are my priorities? Don't start your day looking at your phone, because that's other people's priorities. If you look at your email or social media, then you're comparing yourself to other people. A lot of people with ADHD have a planner, like a bullet journal, where they can keep their lists all in one place. And I always think it's a good idea to look at your goals for the day every morning. First thing every morning, my suggestion is you do a brain dump of all the things that are on your mind that's stressing you out, things that you want to make sure you remember. Just write it all down, a huge list. But then go and pick 3 or 4 of those that you want to do that day. And then next to each one, write the next action step. Instead of focusing on the whole list or focusing even on one big project, you just focus on the one next step, and then you can add new things, take off old things. And, so you have a to-do list that's giant, and then you have a today list that's small, 3 to 5 things that are urgent, that have a close deadline, or things that were really stressing you out when you woke up. Those are things that you want to have on your today list. And another challenge is just avoiding unhealthy hyperfocus. I know some people, they forget to eat lunch because they just hyper focus on something, or they don't even go to the bathroom, or drink water or whatever. But it's easier to hyper focus and overwork at home. And sometimes that can be helpful, but it has to be a balance. So set a work schedule and keep it. Get dressed in the morning. Don't work in your pajamas. Even putting on shoes can help your brain shift into work mode. Take breaks and make sure that you eat lunch, right? Because remote work can make it easy to hyper focus and then spend time, tunneling in, and that might not be the best use of your time. It can be an advantage, but if you're not eating and drinking enough water, then you're going to end up exhausted and on edge as the day goes on. So you definitely need to prioritize that self-care. Working from home, a lot of people find it challenging. They just find themselves floundering. They don't have structure. That's one of the things that I help with in my coaching program. People who want to start working from home, I help them to create structure. Um, because if you're physically disconnected from people at work, it's harder to remember to include them in collaboration and update them on your progress or ask for help if you get stuck. Um, and we get energy from being with people, and we get motivated seeing other people work. And so being by yourself can feel kind of boring and lonely and demotivating sometimes. So I suggest that you get up at the same time every day and stick to the same ordered routine that you would if you were going to an office. That includes exercise, journaling, prayer, meditation, eating, showering, dressing, doing dishes. Don't look at your email before your morning routine. Schedule regular contact with your boss and anybody who's collaborating with you on a project. Um, you know, Set up a Zoom call or a phone call. But you need to treat it more like an office job. Have a separate workspace and keep regular office hours. Your workspace needs to be where you do work, not the same place that you watch TV or sleep. Separate workspace, so that your brain, when your brain sees it, they're like, oh, this is work. Don't set the expectation at work or at home that you're available at all hours of the day, because you're not. So, or you shouldn't be. So make sure that you set those boundaries and that you communicate what your expectations are. There's a lot more I could say about working from home. And maybe you have some tips, maybe you have some things that you could add to this list. And so if you do, I would encourage you to put those in the chat and let us know. Let us know what's working for you. I'm curious to know. I didn't see a lot of comments tonight, so if you are watching the replay, make sure you say hi in the chat. Just say #replay and let us know if you like these tips, and let me know what other things have worked for you, those of you who are working from home. So I hope you have a great Monday, a motivating Monday, and a good rest of your week. And I will see you next time. Bye.